Hey, so you joined me on another beach looking for fossils. Is that a part of a shark's tooth? Even if it is, fuck it, I don't care. That is definitely a bit of shark's tooth. And yeah, I was pleased that I instantly found a bit within 2 minutes, which meant, you know, I'm a good right place. And then I see this, and I'm like, because it's attached to all this, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And it says that it's from Germany, and you open it up, and it's got some electrics in it, and a couple of cells, and a switch. And then I look at this a bit more, and I'm like, this is a weather balloon. There's the bottom of it. I don't know what this thing is. I don't know, but that's got like a balloon on top of it of its own. And a string and... God knows. But that's really cool. So that's probably been up near space and then come back down when he ended up here. So I'm going to take this home with me. And if I can find out who sent it off, I'll let them know where I found it. I assume that's an antenna. Looks like it. No, I'm not planning on making a live fossil hunting video, although I don't know, I just don't think many of you would be that interested in it, and a lot of it is this. Walking along, really slowly, looking amongst stones for something that looks like a stone, but isn't a stone. It's actually high tide, and I'm kind of in the wrong place. I want to be in the next bay, but I have to walk through this way. So it's worth looking just to get to know the area. Because a lot has changed where I am. It used to be, this wasn't here, these weren't here, but they had to put in sea defences, so they moved in 93, look how that looks like a bloody shark's tooth, and it's not. So they moved in 93 million tonnes of this, and a load of shingle and gravel. I'm down near Selsley, basically, and yeah, it's to protect the people here because the sea defences weren't working. Though these sea defences have been overcome once before now, but I don't know if they've made them better since then. It's just what I love about going around on beaches and looking for stuff. Is, you know, you can go looking for anything. You can go looking for modern stuff. You can go looking for dinosaur, but not dinosaur. Well, you can go to some place looking for dinosaur bits, but you know, millions of year old stuff, and you can find stuff just charcoal, stuff just washed up from somewhere else in the world, like that, or something that went up into space almost, and then ended up here. Yeah, for me, I do like sort of researching and finding out where things are, but then I like to go a bit further back than that. Actually, look at like the geographical maps and see if people have made the wrong assumption about things. See if I have a theory as to why something might be in some place, and then go and try and find it and prove it. Jesus, hello! Sorry. It's alright. Nothing, right. Let's just walk round to the next bay. But then I see small stones, and I start thinking these are the places I have to look. I don't know why I have this personality of basically just being a habitual nerd. I can't help but find out about nerdy things, and I'm not a nerd in the sense of I'm not like a Dungeons and Dragons player or anything like that. Not particularly into sci-fi, or I just love learning stuff, and I like knowing things that I found out for myself. It's one thing being told something by someone, it's a completely other thing being told something and then perfect shaped piece of shell. I don't always want to take someone's word for it just because something is thought to be some way. I don't want to just be like, oh, well that's the way it is. Because we have to keep questioning everything, because, you know, things change massively. You know, what we believe to be a science fact now is almost always wrong. In 20 years' time, a lot of it would be different. I mean, a good example of that would be, say for instance, T-Rex. You know, everyone thought there was a big monstrous thing that ran around eating animals, well, other dinosaurs, you know, and that's what it did. And then years later they were like, no, it's a scavenger, and it was slow, and it was a bit dim-witted. And if you know, like in the Jurassic Park films, if you don't move, it can't see you. And they've done research, basic shit, like just looking at the skeletons, working out where their eyes look, working out what sort of toes they have and the bones, and does this make it a runner or does this make it a slow walker, or you know? And they've gone from thinking that it was a thing that ran around killing things to something that was, like, you know, scavenging like a big crow. But now they're sure that it actually did run after things, and it did attack things. And if you were stood in front of it, not moving, it would have seen you, and it would have come and bitten your head off. I think I just got incredibly lucky finding that first piece of tooth further back round. I'll have another look in that place when the tide's down, because the tide's not too late tonight. Well, it's gone 8ish, and it gets dark at 8:30. So I'm basically going to walk to where I want to go. I could have just parked there, but I can't because this is all private, so I had to park much further down and walk. Oh, and of course, if you're wondering, why have I never found a fossilised shark's tooth just sat on the beach? You have to be on the right beaches, basically. There are fossilised seabeds around the country that are exposed, different places, different layers for different ages. And basically, here, there's one, and there's more down the other part of the country. I mean, there's probably bits all over the country that there's probably one near you. Now, something interesting I discovered the other day was the fact that down in Antwerp, and, you know, that sort of area, they can find megalodon teeth over there, and they can find all sorts of different species that we just don't see here. I found a guy who goes collecting shark's teeth, megalodon teeth, and all sorts of stuff out there. And I said to him, what's the geology of the place? Why is it that we're only, you know, we're less than 100 miles apart, and you get all of these things, and we don't? We just get a completely different set, it would seem. And the simple answer to that is that our stuff's too old. The mud layers that they've got being exposed are like 20 million years old, or something like that. Ours are much more like 40, 50 million. So that's why we get a completely different set of animals. Well, not completely different set, because they're still sharks, but you know what I mean. They're different species. Things really changed over those 20 million years. And this is why I just can't get on with the religious, you know, ideals and ideas of how things were created, because, you know, they say, well, where's the evidence? That's a 50 million year old shark's tooth in my hand. Science will tell you what it was, how it got there, what other things were around at the time. It will tell you why this tooth turned into a mineralized into fossils. You could spend an entire lifetime just researching one small aspect of any of that. Religion's answer is so insulting. It's like, you know, no, that's far too complicated, that's far too whatever. God did it. Because that's easy to explain. Because you see how that, you know, science will say, well, we need to hypothesize, we need to do research, we need to look into this, that, and the other, we can find an answer that can be repeatable, and we'll learn from it, and we can then apply the things we've learned from this to other things. The religion's version is, God did it. And of course you can't win on this one, because their reply can just be, well, the fossils are there to test us, or the fossils are there because of X, Y, and Z. God works in mysterious ways. It's like, well, he kind of admitted about 99.999999, I could go on for a while, % of what actually happened in the history of man, and before man. Anyway, enough of spicy philosophy. Okay, it's not a fossil, but I don't know what the hell it is. It's weird. Just bizarre. What the hell is that? I'm guessing it's a form of like sea squirt. Oh look, there's more of it. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I hope this goes well. Unfortunately, this is slippery. This is wet and slippery. And there is huge holes through. Or maybe I do some sort of half and half. Well, that was uneventful. Oh, hang on, I haven't got down here yet. And this is all slippery. These jeans are filth at the moment, so fuck it. I think I do need to go over there now. Oh, this one looks even worse. I was a mountain goat in a previous life. You see, one of the things you have to sort of learn about is currents and the way that different weighted objects get deposited at different places on the beach. However, then you have to take into account that if they are up here, they're going to have been rolled by the stones and the tides, and thus they're not going to be as good condition as the ones found down there, but they do concentrate here, so if you get one early enough, it might be a perfectly good nick. And at this point I said to myself, am I making the most boring vlog I've ever made? To some people, they'll fucking love this stuff. To others, boring as hell. Now, how old is this stuff? I don't see any fossils in it. At all, it's just stones. The thing is, if I didn't do these sorts of things, I wouldn't go to these sorts of places and these videos wouldn't sort of appear. I mean, who's out here? No one's out here. This would only be made massively better if I actually found any form of shark's teeth or anything that was even remotely fossilised. Of course, one thing to point out is this is actually a pretty dangerous thing to do without knowledge. If you've grown up next to the sea, you know about sea states and you know about rip currents and different types of mud, and you understand how to be safe. And it's something I was taught ever since I was a little kid. It's just you don't question checking the tides and stuff like that. It's just something you do no matter what. I do advise people, if you ever do anything like this, actually have some sort of regard for your own life. Is that stable enough to stand on? It is. One of the reasons it's so addictive is because, you know, if you went looking for, say, I don't know, you went looking for something in the woods and you went looking again and again and again, and you're like, well, I've already looked here, of course it's not here, I've already looked here, you get disheartened very quickly. But every 12 hours, when the tide's coming out, the game resets. And you get a whole new chance and a whole new canvas, and what the hell is that? That's a boot horn, isn't it? I should actually be thinking about this sensibly as well, that I shouldn't actually be just grabbing random pieces of metal, because there's a lot of unexploded bombs down this way. Though I would love to know the statistical sort of evidence of how many unexploded bombs just suddenly explode. They always go and get these bombs and they'll cordon off bloody miles around the thing, even though the explosion it just isn't going to do any damage that far out, but they're doing it for safety. How many times have they started moving it and it blow up? There's white things in this stuff. Are those fossils? No, these are fossils, look. So, does that mean to say that around here we're going to find... Fucking hell! I just did! There's a shark's tooth. Right. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Awesome! But that is properly pleasing. It's something to just stumble straight onto. I haven't found anything else yet, but as you can see, there's lots more shells exposed in this. This is all fossilised. All of it. I also have this unbelievable skill at zooming and locating in on the first tooth really easily. Like, no trouble at all. And then I can look for hours afterwards and not find anything. It's like, how does that work? Because you think, well, if I found one in a few seconds, that must mean there's millions of them. But then you never find them. I still don't see any shells in any of this stuff, which means it's probably not deep enough. And also, the fact that it's got this brown algae on it makes me think that it's not being eroded nearly as fast as that stuff is, so you won't find so many fossils around this. You still will and can, but statistically, and that's what we're working on here, statistics, you'll find more where it's eroding. Well, actually, you'll find more sort of downstream from where it's eroding, because nature just sorts things. On a beach, it will sort big stones with little stones, and just densities just make things organise themselves. They're cool. Whole ones as well. And now I question, are these even fossilised? They've got to be. Look at the mud they're in. So the thing is, I could try and contact someone who also does this in this area and get some tips off them, but by doing that, you only learn what they know. And if you're given the information as to how to do something, you tend to only do it that way. If you find your own way, you find yourself using techniques and methods or looking in places that other people wouldn't. And because you're trying different things that other people haven't tried, you can end up discovering things that people haven't discovered, or realise a new way of doing something. And that, for me, is what this sort of thing's all about. I'm not going to rewrite any books here, but it's just, I like to teach myself to do things. But it's nearly low tide, which means I have to get moving, because not only will the sea start coming back in, but also it's going to get dark. Here at night, sea coming in, don't know the beach that well, pretty dangerous. Now, I've made this video which is very, very talky, and it's just walking on the beach, and it's probably of zero interest to most of my subscribers. So if you're not into this sort of thing, just say so, like, yeah, appreciate the effort, but yeah, it's not our sort of thing, and then I'll keep making them anyway. No, I'm joking. I will listen to people, but I'll just do it in my own time. And you know, 2 teeth, even though they're both a little bit damaged, I'm not complaining one bit. That's very cool that you can just walk onto a beach and find stuff like this.